It's Thursday, January 17th, Friday, January 18th, if you're on the East Coast or across the pond. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the snowy mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you nightly on the SOR Radio Network, Deep Talk Radio, and Revolution Radio. If you want to listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, shop at our store, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe to the channel today. Have you ever been treasure hunting? No, a little bit more exotic than geocaching. It's something that you might be interested in doing. Why not? Solving the mystery clues to find a box of gold at the end of it? Doesn't it sound like something that would be just in a novel? Well, that's exactly what's been happening for nearly the last decade, as a man named Forrest Fenn 9 years ago buried treasure in the Rocky Mountains north of Santa Fe, New Mexico, somewhere. It's a treasure that is as elusive and as vague as the clues that cover up this multi-million-dollar mystery. Kristie Thor is one of those who is chasing this pot of gold, and tonight she's here to break down the history, the story, and the hunt for Forrest Fenn's gold. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we have Olaf Phillips back from Paranoia Magazine for the SOR Newswire. Kristie Thor, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. I tell you, I first learned about Forrest Fenn about a year ago. And ever since then, I have wanted to do a show on this. And I am so glad to have you on here because now we get to talk about it. What brought you to liking this mystery?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I have been in the chase. That's what we call it, in the chase. I'll try not to use too much lingo from the treasure hunting community. But probably about 4 years ago, and I have kind of I think everybody has a weird story about how they got into this chase. I had my mom pass about 7-8 years ago, and my brother, he pans gold. He's kind of an adventurer, and he called me and he said, I need to go what's called boots on the ground, which is where you actually go and try to retrieve the treasure chest, and I don't trust anyone else. Can you please go with me? And I said, I was a real corporate type, kind of out of shape, didn't really have a lot of adventure. I'm a mom. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, can you please Google Forrest Fenn? And I went and read about him, and I went, okay, what does this mean? And he said, please go to Yellowstone with me, and just don't ask questions, just come on up. And so I decided to, and I went what we call boots on the ground, BOTG, for the first hunt, and then I was hooked. And now I have been in it 4+ years. I own a forum. I have a guy named Mike Cowling that we run a Cowazar's YouTube channel. We talk about it a couple days a week. I'm hooked. I'm looking for it, and I'm hoping either I find it or someone in this great community finds it in our lifetime to be able to tell the greatest story of treasure hunts in our time.
Kristie, I want to get into this, and we're going to get into this for the next couple of hours on this show, so we have lots of time to talk about all these stories and these adventures. But when you decided after the happenings with your mother, did you just feel that you needed a change of pace in life, do something positive for you for the first time in a long time?
Well, there was a couple different reasons. One, I was pretty estranged from my brother. We had had a lot of ins and outs, and times that we talked and times that we didn't. And then when my mom passed, we decided we really needed to kind of make amends. He was the adventurer always in his entire life. I'm looking at a picture of him right now where on my desk that he was parachuting, and there's a picture of me with my degree sitting at graduation. So that was kind of our life. I was the serious one. He was the adventurer. And And so I do think I was my kids were, 5, 6 years old. The other one was 7, 8 years old. I was kind of in that time of, okay, maybe I could do this. I don't know. Because once he sent me the link and I started reading, it's like, oh, there's a treasure chest, and we'll run for it, and we'll get it, and it could change our lives. But I do have to say, I was super out of shape. I was about 75 pounds heavier, and I said the only way I can go to Yellowstone and outrun a bear if it's trying to capture me or trying to eat me is to start to get into shape. And so that's actually, I started exercising every day, and the only way I felt comfortable, boots on the ground, was to get into good shape. I made it about a mile hiking. It was a fatigue. Now I've lost 75 pounds, but I was about 20, 30 pounds down by then. And I emailed Forrest Fenn. And I kind of saw him as a celebrity, like he'll never answer. And I emailed him and I said, I'd made it about a mile today. I'm waiting until I know if I can actually make it safely, because safety is the most important thing. I mean, I'm a mom. I'm not going to give up my kids or my life. And he emailed me back. And he said, tell me your story. He's like, okay, tell me a little bit about yourself. And the really cool part about this treasure hunt is we have an interactive person that's running this treasure hunt. The next day he put out what we call some words. There's a couple websites that he puts out some hints and clues and words to kind of keep the searchers inspired. And he spelled my name correctly, and he said, hey, if you guys are waiting to go boots on the ground, just go, something like that. And I was so inspired, I called my brother the next day, and I said, we're going to Yellowstone. First time I'd been to Yellowstone, the most gorgeous place on the planet. I've been every year since then. I will go every year for the rest of my life, I feel. And then I just continued the journey. And the first solve I had, it was gone. I mean, I knew when I got there. We call it the walk of shame. We take the walk of shame and go, nope, we didn't find it. There's many of us, hundreds of thousands, that have done that. But I was just so inspired by the story, and I went, I'm going to try again. So the next year, I got a new solve and went again. And then the next year, went again, met a bunch of people. And again, it changed my life in positive ways. I mean, even though it's not all been positive, I've had hardships and, I didn't find it. And, I've had friends and I've lost, there's just been so much in the chase. There's the treasure hunting side, but there's the community side. And that's what's been so wonderful for me. So it's kind of like, it's funny because my brother, who I was searching with, is no longer in the chase. And so I've taken on different search partners. I've gone alone, and that was really empowering as a woman, a single woman. I'm going to go by myself. And now I do search. I'm going to try from here on. It's so much more fun to search with somebody. You just tell, and I have such good friends in the chase. So I've kind of had my whole, kind of had that evolution of life through this chase. So I feel like it's changed me in all positive ways. So just like any really hardcore hobby, you get into it and you get so inspired, and it doesn't consume me, but it definitely is something I think about every day.
We have a friend of this show, a gentleman named Nelson Dellis, who has attempted Mount Everest 3 times to try and summit. He's almost died on the mountain twice, but he still hears Mount Everest calling him on a daily basis. And in fact, right now he is in Nepal planning his 2020 excursion to try for a 4th time to summit. Do you hear that area, that drive in your head on a daily, nightly basis that you have to go back? Like this is a quest that you must finish.
Well, it's interesting because for me, it's not a single location. And this is a controversy or discussion we have in the chase. We have some chasers that have been out there for 8 years. They have the same, let's say, 1 mile area. They've been out 400, 500 times, year in, year out, and they're hardcore on that one spot. They know it's it. They just were, last time they went out, they were 10 feet away or 20 feet away or 100 feet away. I'm not that person. I am that person that Forrest says you look at the poem and you let the poem drive where the location is. And he's only narrowed it down to 4 states. There's a huge area in those 4 states. I have personally had solves in Wyoming, Montana, and I have not had one full one in Colorado, but I've had one in New Mexico. So I have had the drive to find it every year. And I'll give you the example of what I had happen. I had a solve I was working on for about a year and a half, and it was about May, June of last year, and went out there, figured out it wasn't there. And I said, I don't want to lose the search season. I don't search during the winter, and no one should because of safety. And I reached out to the community and said, I don't want to lose the next 4 months. I can't develop a whole solve, and I am yearning to find that treasure chest. Who has a good solve that they want to partner? I will tell the community, don't ever do that. I got about 100 people that sent me their solve and said, partner with me. And some of them were they were too far-fetched for me. They didn't fit what I thought the solution should be. But I did find somebody on the forum that I run. He sent me a solve. He had just been boots on the ground. He said, I think it's this, but I can't figure out the last part. And I went, oh, did you think about this part, though? And he said, I didn't. Any chance you'll go out to New Mexico? And the funny part is, though I consider Forrest a friend, I never met him for 3 years. From that first time I emailed him and said, I'm trying to make it a mile, or just made it a mile, should I go? I had only corresponded via email. So I said, I'm going out to New Mexico. I'll go boots on the ground for you. And I'm going to meet Forrest Fenn for the first time. So that was late last summer, July, August timeframe. So I am a hunter of the treasure. I am not the hunter of a location, because I also think it needs to be about the head or the heart. I call it my love solve. Yellowstone is my love solve. With my heart, I love the beauty. Oh, God, it is so phenomenal, that location. I've never been there. I didn't know a place like that exists. But when I look at the treasure chest, that doesn't mean it was the place for Forrest Fenn. So I can't rule out anything. So I am open. I don't jump too much. I've had 4 solves in 4 years. But I got to go where I think the treasure chest might be. And sometimes you just got to mix it up. But again, I don't knock any treasure hunter that's been to the same location 500 times. Maybe you're just a few feet away. I'm not that person. I am that person that's going to keep an open mind. I rule out nothing. And I'm not going to tell any treasure hunter. I'm going to say that's probably not something I think's right, but that doesn't mean who am I? I don't have the treasure chest. I'm not Forrest Fenn. Go get it. So I just try to inspire with positivity. But I can tell you I want the treasure, but it's not a specific location. I've found too many beautiful locations to say this is the one, and I will never walk away.
Very interesting indeed. I think before we get too much deeper into this, we need to introduce our audience to who Forrest Fenn is. Could you break the gentleman and the legend down for us?
Sure. Okay, so Forrest Fenn, he was born in Texas. He has, and there's a book out there called The Thrill of the Chase that kind of outlines a little bit of his life story. And he's also been very open with his life story. And so his father was a teacher principal, and they spent every summer driving up to Yellowstone, and he took time every summer to be a fishing guide. He was out in the wilderness. He was just one of those that just loved the outdoors. He tried and true. No matter what happens, he was going to be out there, fly water, fishing, all of that. Then he went into the Air Force. He was a fighter pilot. He is a decorated veteran. And then he came back after that time, and he started a gallery, and this is the short version of it, but he started a gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And he sold art, and that was his business. He did really well in that business. He had the likes of Jackie Onassis, Suzanne Summers. I could name. He has so many names that but his gallery made him very wealthy. But he's an eclectic wealthy man. So he's owned an alligator. He has had he gets in a plane and flies to different locations. He's an adventurer in his heart. So in We don't know exactly when. He says some things, but he's a little bit not exact about. He got cancer, and he thought it was terminal cancer where he was going to die. And that's when he got this idea of, why don't I take a treasure chest full of gold and coins and diamonds and rubies and bracelets from Indian artifacts and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and place it somewhere in the Rockies. And at the time, there was more states than the 4 we have now. There were 6 states. But he said the plan didn't go well because he lived. And so he then decided, about 15 years later, and, the exact time frame is not known. He said that is something he doesn't want to disclose, but we think it's about 2010. He put out this Thrill of the Chase, and he put out this poem. And he has said this poem, it has 9 clues in it that will take you to the treasure chest. And he also put together his memoir, which is The Thrill of the Chase. And he says there are subtle hints in that book with and along with this poem. It will take you to this treasure chest. And if you get it, you get title to the gold. And so that is where it all began. And that is where he did a little book signing. He lives in Santa Fe. And he is partnered with a small bookstore that puts out that memoir. And that's where it began. Well, now fast forward a year or two, there was probably, I would say, a couple thousand in the chase, chasing this treasure. And Hemispheres magazine by United Airlines picked up the story. And that's where everything ballooned. And it really got out to the masses. He went on the Today Show every week and gave an extra hint, like he narrowed down a couple of the states and said it's not in that state, it's not in this state. He started giving what we call the cheat sheet. He said it's not under 5,000 feet elevation, is not over 10,002 in elevation, it's not in a graveyard, it's at least 8.25 miles north of Santa Fe. He started just giving some hints out. And then now you fast forward a few more years, he has put out his 3rd memoir. And now, so we have 3 memoirs. He's only said, though, that there are subtle hints in the first memoir, which is The Thrill of the Chase. But he has Too Far to Walk and Once Upon a While that are 2 other memoirs. And they just tell these wonderful stories about him. Many think you have to understand Forrest Fenn to solve this poem. There has been about 350,000 searches, probably several 100,000 searching is what he has said, and no one's found it yet. He has said at least someone has been within 200 feet. He thought last year it was going to be solved. It was not. So there is now, treasure hunting fever. So he is still as wonderful as he was back many years ago, and he's still engaged with the community. He is 88 years old, and he's been through a lot in this chase. Again, it's evolved over time. This is a brand new way. It's kind of like it's a social experiment in a way. But it's also, we're in a social community that winner takes all. So it's a very interesting dynamic that has happened over time. But we formed a community, but, also he's one step removed from it, but he's also very much a part of it. So we all try to focus on that poem. There's 166 words in that poem. I have it on a big poster in my office that I'm looking at right now that has a map to it. We know what he has said, and we're all just trying to crack it. And, we're kind of chasing that American dream.
Well, we're going to read the poem because I think it's a big part of this, and we'll get you fired up here as we only got about 3 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. The poem is Begin, where the warm waters halt, canyon down, too far to walk. Put in below, home of brown, no place for the meek, end is ever drawing nigh. No paddle up your creek, heavy loads, water high, blaze, quickly down, cease. I mean, you can't get any more vague than that.
Yes, but I'm going to take a little bit of exception. That is some of the key highlights, but Forrest has been very clear. Do not discount any word in my poem. So it begins in, as I've gone alone in there and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secrets where a hint of riches, new and old. And then it goes into begin it where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down. So though you hit some of the highlights that we all love to jump into, like we know he has said, the first hint is where warm waters halt. But what does the first stanza mean then? Why is it there? And we go down what we call rabbit holes of discussion. If he's already told us that, then why is it there? Is Homer brown? There's a capital B in brown. Why is it there?
Yes.
What about the punctuation? Why is it there? There's a semicolon. It doesn't make sense. Why is it there? Why is there some poets get into it and say, this all rhymes until the last stanza? Why does that happen? Which we all agree on about 4 of the clues, but the other 5, like we agree on the ones that you named, Blaze, Homer Brown, Canyon, Where Warm Waters Halt. But what are the others? Is it gaze? Is it peace? Is it seek? Is it weak? I mean, is it cold? Is it wood? There are these key words, and the only thing we can agree on is none of us can agree. And that's where it really gets interesting, and that's where the community forms. So we start, now that it's been going on year 9, we're sitting and going, maybe we should talk a little bit about this. And that's where the community has formed. And we have lively debates on exactly what we're talking about right now.
Is it, as we go into the final minute here, about final 40 seconds, is this a group effort or is it a free-for-all? So even though you're sharing information with others, that if they find it, you're not getting a piece of gold out of it?
Well, you ask the interesting questions that make debate. Some say, if I find it, it's mine. This is winner take all. Some put some things out there that misguide people with their clues. Some people say, if I found it, I would help the people that are the most open and generous with their discussions and their talks. I can tell you that the show that Mike and I have, I've taken the stance. I've tried for 4 or 5 years. I'm going to put out most of the things that I see. Hopefully it helps someone. Someone has said to me, oh, this helps me. If I find it, I'm going to give you a coin or something in the treasure chest.
Hey, Kristie, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we're going to step out for break here. Kristie Thor, our guest. We're talking Forrest Fenn's Treasure tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back with the second half hour right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thor, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Always a pleasure to be broadcasting to you here on the mighty SOR. Talking Forrest Fenn. Would you go treasure hunting in the Rocky Mountains if you knew millions were on the line? Kristie Thor is our guest tonight. She is a treasure hunter looking for this elusive treasure put out by 88-year-old Forrest Fenn. We're thinking about 9 years ago. Kristie, welcome back.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Absolutely glad to have you here. Now, right before the break, we kind of went over the poem and everything about Forrest Fenn. Let's learn about the treasure. What is actually hidden out in the Rockies?
Well, there's some information, but not a lot of information. So there is a treasure chest. So we believe that the treasure chest is worth about $25,000 itself, weighs about 20 pounds itself. The whole treasure trove is about 42 pounds. We know that Forrest took the treasure chest out and put it in its place, then came back for all of its contents. We know some of the contents. We don't know all of the contents. We know there are some double eagle coins. I think it's 265, if I'm not mistaken. That's going off of memory. The treasure hunting community will tell me if I get any specific item fact wrong. But then there's gold, and then there's Indian artifacts. That's the one thing I didn't mention, and I should have mentioned. Forrest Fenn is huge in the area of American Indians, and he has a pueblo that he excavated, and that's where he sold a lot of arts, but also artifacts from that pueblo. So there is quite a few items that are within the treasure chest. So if you think of a treasure chest, you're not opening some dollar bills. You're not opening the chest and looking at some dollar bills. You are looking at rubies and diamonds, and there's so many. He has one picture, high-resolution picture that is out there, and it is stuffed to the gills. He has said there's a surprise in that as well. He has said that he has a memoir in there. He has said that he has some locks of hair, so you can prove that this was his, that you have actually found his treasure chest. So there is just a whole variety. There is not a formal and complete accounting of everything in the treasure chest, but if you think of the dream, if you are a treasure hunter, my 9-year-old says and looks at that picture and goes, that's everything I would ever want in a treasure chest, rubies and diamonds and gold, right. Vials of gold. It's all in there. It's right. There for us and the taking.
So we read a little bit of the highlights of the poem. Here is the full poem. I want to get this out there so we don't sound too foolish out here. And it says, this poem is written by Forrest Fenn, contains 9 clues that, if allowed precisely, will lead to the end of his rainbow and the treasure. Happy hunting. As I've gone alone in there, and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where, and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt, and take it to the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answers I already know. I've done it, tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I will give you title to the gold. I mean, that is just amazing. Like, did he have a poetic background when he was writing this, or did he have help?
I do. No, so there is some, I'm not going to speak for Forrest, but I'm going to tell you what I believe through lots of myths and legends and some things he has said. He took 15 years, he said, to develop this. Now, from when he got cancer to when he developed the poem doesn't exactly align to that. But Forrest, if you've ever been around him, he's a storyteller. So I don't worry as much of, was it 14 years, 6 months, and 3 days? He's telling a story, but he took 15 years to develop this poem. There was a previous version out there where he said, rather than let's see, he said, I'll throw my bones rather than, there was a part that there was a little bit off in the poem. He developed it over 15 years. Now, several believe the reason he did that is there are ciphers, and if you align the words exactly right or the letters exactly right, it gives you some sort of code or cipher of where to go. He has never been, from what I understand, a poet. I believe that he has imagination that goes for miles. He has said you need imagination to solve this poem. And so, but he's also said the person that could solve this is a redneck with 12 kids from Texas. So this is not he says you don't need specialized knowledge. I have gone into the periodic table. I've gone into the specialized Indian history, and then I sit there and look, and I've gone into the different, like, gold and different types of he says where warm water's halt. So I've gone into temperatures of water and their molecular. And then I said, how is that a redneck from Texas that's going to be able? So I keep trying to, what he asks us to do is simplify. So over time, he has developed this. He took 15 years to get it just right. Why? Darn it, I don't know. Because if I did, I would hope I would have the treasure chest. And I don't at this point, but it is beautiful. It is a work of art, in my opinion. I think he has said, don't discount any of the words in that poem, and you read them all this time, and I can tell you, even as I have gone alone in there, some people thought the as I is Isa, A-S-I spelled backwards, is Isa Lake. It was something that simple, but many people have searched Isa Lake, and it is not the case. So there's just 1,000 ways this could be solved, and this is what's so difficult, is what you just read is not scientific. There is, and he has said, there's thousands of places where warm waters halt north of Santa Fe. Well, which one's right? Which canyon is right? Which home of Brown? Where do you take your paddle? Where is there waters high? Thousands and thousands and thousands of searchers believe they are the one that has found it because it's so simple, but yet none of us have the treasure chest.
Do you think that maybe it has been found, but nobody has come out publicly to say it? Or, like, how does he know? Does he have someone out there who watches for it and goes and checks for it?
You are asking the questions that we debate on. So Forrest has said there is a way he knows. And much like some people have said, did he ever even put a treasure chest out there? And they say it's a hoax. There's a little bit of a leap of faith you have to take. And if you believe that, then do not go out to try to find the treasure chest. But if you do believe, you have to believe the words of Forrest Fenn. And Forrest Fenn has said there's a way he knows. He has actually said to me, when it is found, he will announce it on my forum. Which is the Hint of Riches forum, where we have a couple thousand that check in every day to see how their day is going to go if it is found. He says there's a way. He says that he will not tell us the way because that would be a hint he does not want to reveal. So we all wonder, I've said it must be a webcam because that's how he could know. Some people think there's something inside the treasure chest where when it's opened up, it will alert him in some way. Some people think it is a letter inside that says, if you return this to me, this is worth maybe $1 million, $2 or $3. I will give you $10 million if you return this to me, and most people would do that. No one knows, and he has said he's the only one that knows where the treasure chest is hidden. We don't know, except for he has said when he passes, which will eventually come, we are all human, no one else knows, and then it's fair game. I will tell you, I have run the Thor, it's the Hint of Riches, the Thor forum for about a year, and I have had at least 100 searchers tell me they have found it. And almost every time I email Forrest and say, such and such just told me, you didn't notify me. And he said, no, it has not been found. But what are we going to do once he passes? We're going to, we're going to be in a quandary. And, some people are going to say proof, et cetera. I don't know. But right now, Forrest has said he will notify the community once it is found. And at this point, it has not been found. We don't know how, but we just like that leap of faith, we have to take him at his word that he will tell us when it is found.
Why would he go to the grave with this secret rather than leaving it for someone else who is there to watch over it? Maybe leave something for a family member or something in the will and say, look, when it's found, you continue this legacy.
Yeah, so I have a couple answers to that. The first is, this is Forrest Fenn's legacy. This is Forrest Fenn's, you look at the thrill of the chase, it's about Forrest Fenn. And he has said it's going to die with him because that's a part of his legacy. Maybe there's a way once he dies that he is going to leave something for us, but this is about him. The second is, there is what I call the dark side of the chase. I'll give a couple of examples. I think his family has been through some challenges. One treasure hunter believed that the treasure was his granddaughter, and if he kidnapped his granddaughter and held her for ransom, then he would give him the treasure. Forrest would give him the treasure. The man went to prison. He is now out on parole or parole, I guess. And to this day, that's what he believes. And he served his time, but he is very open about that. There was a man that took an axe and got through his gate this last summer and broke into one of the small casitas on his property and was looking for the treasure. So in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I don't think he wants to burden his family with what we call his legacy. This is his dream. This is his legacy. He has a vision for this. And I think he has said 7% of the people he thinks are crazy on this earth. We've tried to make a joke out of it, but it's quite serious. There are some people, we've had some people die searching. We have had some people that are truly not sound of mind. Where they have taken this to a whole different level. He's had death threats. I know he has. I know that things that have happened that are just, I know he said he's thought of everything, and it's quite sad. So I don't think he wants to burden his family. So he's been quite clear. No one knows where it is. And once he passes, it will die with him. And so many have asked, does he want it found before he passes? I've asked him that question, and he's ambivalent. He has said that's not for him. That's not what it's about for him. He has put out this poem. He's put out the hints and clues. He's put out the memoirs, and now it's up to the community. Whether it's found in a year, 100 years, or 1,000 years, that is not up to him. But those are two reasons. It's his legacy, in my opinion, and then he doesn't want to burden his family. So I do believe, some people have wondered, he has had a wife of many, many, many decades, and, family and, of course, grandkids. He's so close to so many. They are a tight-knit family. And I don't think he wants to burden them because that's just separate to him. Again, just my opinion.
Right. Now, this is a very dangerous trek. There have been numerous deaths of people trying to get this, going into dangerous areas. Maybe talk about that. This isn't for the faint of heart here.
Yeah, so if you look at this where he says where warm waters halt, we're talking about water, and then you go a canyon down, not far but too far to walk below Homa Brown. You look at those and you think of the Rockies. We have the Rio Grande. We have Yellowstone. We have Class 4, Class 5 rapids, you name it. So it's interesting because the chase has been going on about 9 years, and I think it was the first 4 or 5 that one of the really hardcore treasure hunters, he passed before I was in the chase. His name was Randy Ballou. He passed away. He was on a raft in I believe, the Rio Grande when he passed away. He passed away. He actually went missing. A group of searchers got together. Forrest actually rented helicopters. They tried to look for him. They did find his remains, I want to say 6 months. It might have been a year later, and identify him, etc. And then, so that was a good 4 or 5 years in. And then there was at least 2 to 3 other searchers that had passed. All of those searchers passed related to water. So Forrest put out, I believe it was 2017. It might have been, I think it was 2017 or early 2018. He really took it to heart and said, I might call off the chase. Give me a little bit of time to think about what to do. Because though he thought about everything, I don't think he thought about people dying in this chase. Though I will say, before I go on, there is a risk in everything. There are people that die in Yellowstone when they're on or the Grand Canyon or skiing or whatever that is. But he still took responsibility to say, even though there are people doing that, what can I do different? Though there's 350,000 people or hundreds of thousands of people searching, these deaths really took a toll on him. And so he decided to put out another set of clues and hints, or I'll say hints, because those words really mean something in the treasure hunting community. And he gave us things like, it is not in water. That I will tell you, since he has given that information, there has not been a searcher who has passed, because it took everyone from rafting, trying to go underwater, scuba diving gear, trying to go, and dig within the rapids. And it just said, if you believe there's a treasure chest and you believe what Forrest says about the hints, it took that part of it out. There will be, in my opinion, there will be more deaths, because if this goes on for 1,000 years, if 1,000 people go to Yellowstone, for every 1,000 people, let's say 1 dies. I don't know if the statistics are right. But if this goes on for 1,000 years, more will pass. But the whole reason he started this is he wanted people to get away from the texting machines and the video games and get out into nature. Nature is dangerous. I can tell you the first time I went with my search partner, a very, very fit brother of mine, he handed me the bear spray. And I said, why are you handing me the bear spray? And he said, I can run faster than you. And it was true. It was like, okay. And that was a real moment for me. We went off the beaten path, and I haven't seen a bear, but I had the bear bell and I had the bear spray, and I was trained with it. Because if you go out in the wilderness, whether you're vacationing or whether you might be getting married out in a beautiful area, there is danger out there. So yes, we have had some of our fallen searchers. I will say our community came together. There was a group of searchers that all came together. They started searching for him. This was Randy Ballou, and there's been several since then. That we wanted to make sure that's the one time that we put all of our differences aside when we have a searcher in crisis. And we have, I think we will again. This is not for the faint of heart. This, Forrest has said, it's kind of off a beaten trail. It's not going to be in the middle of a concrete jungle. It's going to be off the beaten path. And there are risks to that. And you have to be really prepared. And that's why the other tubers that are out there's a few tubers, the forums, the very first sticky on my forum is safety precautions. What do you need to go out with? Is it water? Is it safety gear? Is it, bear spray? Is it this? Is it that? And we all try to remind ourselves constantly, don't go out right now in the dead of winter. You need to wait until the search season, which is really, early spring, but mid-spring, because if you can't find it when there's no snow, when you're under a few feet of snow, that's going to be even more difficult. So yeah, it's tragic. I will say I feel for the families, but we know that, would you rather be back? I was saying, airplanes, getting on an airplane, there's risk in everything. So would you rather, I know I was one of those people sitting behind a desk, and gosh, I've had some adventures now that just have changed my life, and I would rather have that little bit of risk. And I think if you're really smart and try to remember the safety precautions, there's always a risk, but you have to just be really smart about your boots on the ground and prepare and listen to the community. That's the one thing none of us play about now that we've had seen some of our searchers fall.
And greed will do that, though, as we got about just over a minute here before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Greed will do that. It will drive people to any type of danger because they are so convinced that they are the ones who are going to find this. They will go to any extent necessary. And that's the scary part, because you forget about the safety. You forget about the power of water. Or you forget about the danger of nature's creatures that are out there that can kill you.
Right. Well, I've been boots on the ground where I go, I look at the other side of that river, and I go, I can make it to the other side because I see a little crevice right there. And I have a wet bag, and I know how to swim. And I have a walkie-talkie, so my search partner, as long as I put it in my wet bag, I can get up to the other side. And now I have to tell you, I look around and I go, I have another day, or I have another trip. I'm not going to do it. But have I had that temptation? Have I done some things? I can tell you I have walking sticks when I go. I took one of my walking sticks and I put it in the middle of a geyser in Yellowstone. It didn't come out the same way. So I've done some things that are just probably not the smartest, but we all have to remind ourselves. And as long as we kind of help in that regard, there isn't a way to make it foolproof, but there is a way to constantly remind. And Forrest helped us with that, with a new set of hints to help us get out of the water and try to be safe. And he says, don't go anywhere an 88-year-old man would not have gone. And he says that constantly.
And on that note, Kristie, I'm going to get you to hold on here as we are going to go to break at the top of the hour. Kristie Thor is our guest, finding Forrest Fenn's hidden treasure. Hour number 2 of the Mighty SOR coming up after this.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thor. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. What a pleasure it is to broadcast to all of you tonight. Tomorrow night on the show, Chuck Banks will be with us. Paranormal author will tell us some really cool haunted stories and everything else in between. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We say hello to everybody listening in on the SOR Radio Network, Deep Talk Radio, along with Revolution Radio. Good to have you all with us tonight. Let's see, where do we go from here? Don't forget, all we can do, if you want to hear the archives, is go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Dactylopterus is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. You can go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store right now, as we speak. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, so much more. And you can read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire by clicking on the news section of our website as well. Tonight we are talking Forrest Fenn. This is a treasure hunt that is going on somewhere in the Rockies. Some people claim they've found it, but it's always proved to be untrue. One of the treasure hunters looking for this is Kristie Thor. And we've been talking Forrest Fenn all night. We're going to continue that right now. Kristie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you much.
Now, I know you have a lot of your Forrest Fenn friends listening in tonight. I'm sure you would like to give a shout out to some people.
Yeah, so there's a whole variety of people. We get, we get a couple thousand that check in every day on the forums. But of course, my partner in crime, the person that I have just partnered up recently, because I finally got onto YouTube a few months ago, probably 6 months ago. No, probably only 3 or 4 months ago. Mike Calazars, calazars.com. He is wonderful, and we talk all things Forrest Fenn. He's a true treasure hunter. He's into many, many treasure hunts. And then, a few other people, we call him Copper Dan. He's our superhero artist. He does copper art. And this is the cool thing about this community is the people that have their own genre. He is an artist that makes copper art. He has actually developed art in relation to the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt. And then there's just this whole variety. Yeah. And there's another person, his name's Josh. He has started what we call BOTG clothing. You buy a piece of his clothing, you get bought into a treasure hunt that he is doing in relation to Forrest Fenn, and now it's $1,500 rather than $3 million. But he gave us some clothes, and he has backpacks and hats and all those things you were talking about on your site, and he has made it so fun. So this is where everybody brings their little sliver of the world into the treasure hunt. Mike has developed some of these medallions. They look like coins, but big coins. So when you go out hunting, if you don't find it, you're supposed to drop your coin. So the next treasure hunter that goes out there goes, someone else has been out here. And so it's just, these are the types of people that I say. And then there's the Facebookers. I want to say Janet, hello, and Billy, hello. I mean, there's more than I could ever name. And then,
Wonderful.
The hard part I had is this last year, I had a search partner, and I parted ways. I love him to death. His name's Follow Me Down. That's his handle. And I just said, I don't believe in that space anymore because I've gone out a few times, and we've moved on, but still friends. And that's what can happen is you become friends, and we actually talked all things solved, and then now he's just He's another hunter. He's got a different search partner. So these are the evolutions of life of a treasure hunter. So those are a few people that I want to say hello, whoop whoop. Yeah, we're treasure hunters. We're a community, and I love y'all.
Wonderful, and I'm glad to be able to share this story with all of them and all of our Spaced Out Radio audience as well, because this is a lot of fun. Definitely way different than what we are used to talking aliens on a nightly basis, but nonetheless, we're going to continue on here regarding Forrest Fenn. Now, before we start looking into the treasure aspect of where it could be and is it a hoax or not, Forrest Fenn has actually taken a lot of government heat because of this treasure hunt. There are a lot of government agencies and politicians, of course, they got to get their fingers in on everything, who absolutely disagree with this entire concept. Why would they be like that?
Well, so there's a couple ways to answer that. After the death of one, I'm not sure if it was first or multiple searchers, there were some in law enforcement that came out and said, you are putting people in harm's way. You need to call off this treasure hunt. And they were very vocal about it. They went to the media about it. There has been some agencies like Yellowstone. Some of the rangers up there have said, your treasure hunters come in, they will see Home of Brown, where it is one of our cabins, and they will actually deface the cabin. So call this off. So they have taken the approach that they have brought some of the crazy searchers. This has brought some of the crazy searchers into their areas, and they are breaking the law. But I think if you look at the percentage-wise, this has also brought, I think it was the New Mexico Visitors Bureau. They did a video about this treasure hunt, and they put it on their website, and they believe that it's actually skyrocketing their economy in the area because so many more people are coming to New Mexico than ever did before. So as much we listen to, our media is all about the negative, so we hear about the negative, but you probably didn't know. There was a video done, and our economy is thriving because more people are spending money in those areas. You may not know, when one of our searchers lost her home in the California wildfire and her business, all of our searchers came together in New Mexico, and we raised $59,000 so she could get another home. So that's what Mike and that was the first time I met Mike. And I went, wow, talk about good people. And there's another searcher named Cynthia Meacham. We came together because we said, this is what we need to do. I called every single media representative that had done an article on Forrest Fenn and the treasure hunt in a both positive and negative way. We had hundreds of searchers there and $59,000, and not one of them showed up. So I will say, we know our media in this society. We know government agencies, which I love, especially the IRS. I love you all. But I will say the narrative out there is the scoop is the negative. And there has been things, items that have been defaced. There has been searchers that lost their lives. That's what sells. But if you really know about this treasure hunt, you will know about the positive. You will know about the life-changing stories. We had another searcher before I got into the chase that got cancer. They raised tens of thousands of dollars for her cancer medical bills. She is passed now, but we helped her through as a community. We had another searcher with the hurricane down in Florida. We raised several $1,000s. Us as a community, we come together for each other. None of that hits the media. I won't say it's shocking because, I know the media here, but I will say there's probably more, I won't even say probably, there is more positive in this hunt than negative. But if you want to read the headlines, it might not tell that exact story.
It almost reminds me, and I'll be honest, on a much lesser note, I've been a geocacher since 2010 and have thoroughly enjoyed every moment. But, there have been times where we have gone to places and say it's encroaching on a business or a private property where people have absolutely flipped out about the same thing. You're tearing up my property. You don't know what you're doing. All you geocachers are a bunch of idiots who don't know, how to take care of things or respect things. There's a lot of blame because people love blame. Blame makes things happen. You know what I'm saying? And I could see where that is, you're doing a much more grandiose scale, I can see where it is something that would cause a lot of tension between people, especially the government authorities. And I'm glad he stuck through that. I'm glad communities with tourism revenue have stood up for that, saying what it has done for their communities. But there is also the community out there who believes that this is entirely a hoax, that he's pulling the wool over people's eyes and giving people false hopes, false dreams. Have you ever thought about that? I'm sure that's been a large debate in your community.
Yeah, so there's two ways that I rationalize it. Now, first, you have to take a leap of faith. There is a man that has said there's a treasure out there. The first time my brother called me and said, Google Forrest Fenn, I was like, this is a hoax. What are you talking about? There are people that have seen the treasure chest, that have said they've seen the treasure chest, and you may not know, but Forrest's home, there was a joint raid due to some archaeological investigations that were happening of his pueblo. They raided his home in 2009, which was about a year before he hid the treasure. And it was a joint raid by BLM and FBI, and that treasure chest was in his vault. And they cataloged it, and it was there. So I can tell you at least a year beforehand, if this is a hoax, why would he have a treasure chest filled with what he said it was filled with, that BLM and FBI saw at that time? So that would be my first answer. And the second is, absolutely, the number one thing that happens is someone thinks that they found it 100% for sure, and they get there and they say, oh, it's not here, it must be a hoax, or someone's already found it. If you believe that, I'm going to be a little blunt here. Go find another hobby. If you don't have the faith of what this is, just like many say, Bigfoot does not exist, aliens don't exist, etc., do you want someone that's constantly going to just have the negative narrative, or can they find joy in something else in life? We have our negative Nillies. They are on the forums and they say, nope, it's been found, or it's a hoax, and here's all the negative things. And they've investigated Forrest's personal life, and he is a man. I'm sure he's erred in his life, and they bring up everything. Sure, that is a possibility. I cannot be in that space. And I've gotten wrapped. I went from one of my boots on the ground, and I was pretty negative afterwards. I was like, I wonder if it's out there. I wonder this. I wonder that. I was very frustrated. If there's more frustrating days than positive days, go sit on a beach and watch the ocean. Go skiing. Go do something. But just don't wreck it for the rest of us. I believe it's out there. I believe there's enough evidence that it's out there. I'm a little bit more quantitative. BLM, FBI, I think that has shown. He's had some people like Douglas Preston is a author. He saw the treasure chest. A few other people have testified, not officially testified, but have put out statements that they saw the treasure chest. Many over time have seen the poem. My very first boots on the ground after I crashed and I was really negative, I went into a little restaurant bar, and my brother said to me, don't tell everybody we're treasure hunters. People are going to get upset. And I looked at our waitress just to be honoring, and I said, do you know about Forrest Fenn and the treasure hunt up here in Yellowstone? And she goes, yeah, I'm related to him. I said, what? And she said, yeah, my aunt owns this place, and she's the cousin of Forrest Fenn. And I said, do you hunt? She goes, occasionally, but there's my father-in-law, and he's actually saved a few searchers. And I went over. There's a big group of guys, construction workers, and I said, can I buy you all around? And they said, why? And I said, because you're Forrest Fenn treasure hunters. And they all said yes, except for one. His name was Chip. He said, I don't drink, but you can buy everybody else around. He was a pretty hardcore searcher, even though he was related as well to Forrest. And he laughed because it got around for his crew, but then he came over and he spent about 3 hours with us just shooting the bull, having a great time. He had seen the poem in its previous form. I do have to say, is it a possibility this is a hoax? Yes. There's nothing absolute in life. But I can tell you, I believe, and I think there's enough evidence out there. I don't believe he wants his legacy to be that he left a hoax out there. He's just, from what I've met him now, I've met him on several occasions. I've been what I consider a friend for many years, and I just don't see it as possible. That may change over time, but the evidence I've seen, it's clear to me. It's out there. Is it findable? I don't know. This darn poem drives me crazy, but I do think the treasure chest is in its location.
And I think that's a great way to kind of transition into what we are looking for. What do we know? Give us some of the key hints that anybody who has not studied this would be like, okay, now I see kind of the picture that you're painting.
Okay, so the most obvious that he says all the time is look at the poem. You can find it with the poem. There are some hints sprinkled in his Thrill of the Chase book, but the poem, we call it poem purist. Some believe you don't look at anything. My last search partner followed me down. I actually sent him the book. He sent it back unread and said, all I want to do is look at this poem. I need to find it in the poem. So I will say, first and foremost, the biggest hints, there's 9 clues in this poem. So read the poem inside and out. I have it memorized, and I think many of us do. So it's somewhere in there. But the other piece is, so he put out all of these hints. And there's a man named Dal Neitzel, Dalneitzel, I believe. Forrest puts out hints to him, and he has what's called a cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet says things like, it's not under 5,000 foot elevation. It's not above 10,200 foot elevation. It's at least 8.25 miles north of Santa Fe. Now, originally what he said was it's 66,000 links north of Santa Fe. Over time, people said, well, that means 8.25, and he agreed. People were digging up graves, so he gave the hint, it is not in a graveyard. People were digging up outhouses. He said it is not in an outhouse, and it is not associated with a structure. People were going in mines and tunnels and caves, and he said it is not in a mine, tunnel, or cave. People were going to dams and trying to, they were getting creative with dams. Where Warm Waters Halt is not a dam. He has said that the chest and contents are 42 pounds. That was important to me because I have put 45 pounds into a backpack and walked it a couple miles just to see if I could make it. He has said the chest is 10 by 10 by 5 inches. It's made of bronze. He does have a map that he, on his second memoir, which is Too Far to Walk, it is hidden somewhere on that map. So you can actually see, and the map actually has the poem. That's the one that's up on my wall. And it has a map of the Rocky Mountains. So it's in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, or New Mexico, north of Santa Fe. It actually is a part of one of those states. And he has said, begin it where Warm Waters Halt is the first clue. Now, he also has said, though, don't discount any of the words in my poem. Well, there's an entire first 4 lines. If that's not the first clue, why is it important? And that's one thing that we really get into lively debates and have YouTubes and forums and threads that we've discussed it for years. Number 1, do not go where an 80-year-old man couldn't go. Don't go to a dangerous area. And I will tell you, there are 8 years of these types of things that he has said over time. Those are probably the major ones, 9 clues, start at the beginning, the elevations, etc. And he has said someone's been within 200 feet. And he has said several have been within 500 feet. But they didn't know it. And, this is where we get treasure hunting fever, because we think someone's getting there. It's last year his famous quote that took off, even though he gives lots of quotes, is he said, I have a gut feeling it's going to be found this year. And oh man, everybody thought it was them. I asked on my forum, how many of you think it's you? 25 people said it's me, and it was not found this year. So I believe people are close. At least one person is close, maybe more, but it hasn't been found. So where do we find it? Everybody has their opinions, and he's also said you need to go with confidence. I actually take exception a little bit. We have too much confidence. I can't tell you how many people post up on my forum and say, I'm going to get it today. You guys don't know what you're doing. And they never come back with it. Some of them come back and talk about it, but some of them just disappear. So those are the things we know. And then there's a lot of conjecture and but those are the things we know. If you didn't hear it from Forrest Fenn, it's not fact. It's not a true hint. Not just because someone heard him say something or overheard him say something, unless he puts it out to the masses, in my opinion, it doesn't count.
Okay, so this gets to Dale's question here in the chat room. You kind of answered it a little bit in the previous hour, but how would he know that someone has been within 200 feet? I mean, if it's in the middle of nowhere, I can't see him having satellite-type cameras all over the forest.
Yeah, so he has answered that. He has said that because he answers emails and to various searchers, he gets over 100 emails a day. And he answers some and doesn't answer others. And a lot of people email him and solve. Or where the location is of the treasure chest. He has said someone has emailed him the pictures of where they were searching, and he looks for a couple of key words. I don't know if he searches with them or if he looks for them or what exactly, but he has said by pictures they have emailed him, they have been within 200 or 500 feet. Or they've given him a picture of the blaze, which is another clue within the one of the clues within the poem. So he's actually said that the searcher has emailed him with pictures when they were there, and they just didn't know how close they were. Which of course, anyone that's ever emailed him a picture, of course, says it's me. But yet no chest with then no searcher.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible in regards to that. And do you think he lives near where he buried it, or do you think he went completely off the grid? We got about a minute to go.
Yeah, so I think both. So my first couple of stalls were up in Yellowstone where he grew up, and he was the fisherman, and he wrote about so much in The Thrill of the Chase. My end of last summer, I was about 30 miles from or maybe 60 miles from his home, because that's where he spent the next 40 years. And once you get away from Taos, a little bit off the beaten path, there is some beautiful terrain out there. There's also Colorado that's in the middle. I haven't had a full solve there. But Montana, Wyoming, New Mexico, God, I can't decide. I have not ruled anything out. My mind is open. I'm trying to use my imagination.
I love it, because all it comes down to is imagination and maybe a lot of lady luck. A lot of lady luck coming up. Kristie, I'm going to get you to hold on here. We're going to go to a break here at the bottom of the hour. Kristie Thor is our guest tonight. She is a treasure hunter looking for Forrest Fenn's treasure somewhere in the Rocky Mountains of the Four Corners. If you go out, will you be the lucky one to find it? Do you know what you're looking for? Look at the poem. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject, from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thor, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We are back with the second half of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, and we're talking treasure hunting tonight, looking for Forrest Fenn's gold. Our guest tonight, Kristie Thor. She is someone who is one of the adventurers heading into the four corners of the Rockies, looking for this incredible amount of treasure. Kristie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you much.
Now, before we get going, you actually have a YouTube channel where you guys discuss Forrest Fenn and other treasures. Make sure you give a shout out for that, please.
Yeah, so I have partnered up with a gentleman named Mike Calazars, and it's Calazars or Calazars. It's COWLAZARS. And we have a show Monday and Thursday nights at 6 p.m. West Coast, and then you can do the rest of the time zones. And we talk all things on Monday nights. It's all about Forrest Fenn. And then on Thursday nights, we talk about other treasures, because even though Forrest Fenn's hunt is wonderful, sometimes you need a break, especially during the winter. I just went out for another hunt called The Secret and went boots on the ground because it's in North Carolina. And so we not only, so there's some things that we do that's a little bit different. Like Forrest had a map collection, and his grandson sold the map collection. And Mike is magical when it comes to eBay, and we bought those maps. We had 900 maps that we bought, and now we're saying these are Forrest Fenn's map collection. So we sell some of those maps as kind of an item for someone that's really hardcore into the treasure hunting. He made up the medallions. We do shirts and hoodies and all those things that you say, because some people, this is their true passion. I can say I'm one of them. I'm hooked for life, but we are mostly Forrest Fenn. That's most of our community. We have a couple thousand followers, or Mike does, but he always says we, even though he's been doing it for a couple years. I've been doing it for a couple months, but he's great to me because he's kind of the mellow, very logical treasure hunter, and I'm more of the eclectic, I think outside the box, and I'm a little wild and crazy, so he mellows me a little. So a little yin and a little yang. And we just have a good time. Sometimes we go off the cuff. We did a show last night because we also do events. We're holding a World Series of Fenn where about 50 searchers are coming into one of the casinos in Vegas, and we've gotten some items together, and we're holding a poker tournament. So we've got to socialize a little during the off season. So things like that. We have events during the summer as well. So Mike's a blast, and we have a lot of regulars, but a lot of newbies that come in and just want to hear a little bit more. So it's a blast. But Calazars on YouTube, that's the place to be, and calazars.com. Anything you want to know about the chase, you can hear. There's other tubers out there, and we welcome all discussions. There's websites, there's forums, there's all of that that's out there for you.
Perfect. I want to give a shout out to a big group of people listening in at Forrest Fenn's Treasures Galore on Facebook. They're chatting away there, listening to this. So big shout out to your group out there, led by Janet Landgard. So thank you guys so much for allowing me into the group and letting us broadcast this story to you guys as well. Now, I want to get into the terrain, okay, because we've talked about it briefly a couple of times during this show. We talked about the water, how dangerous it is there, and it's between 5,000 and 10,200 feet. What is the terrain like for people who have never been in that part of the Rockies? How prepared for the wilderness do you have to be outside of carrying bear spray? The elements I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So if you don't go during the winter where roads are closed and the snow is high, you can safely maneuver if you listen to Forrest. Don't go where an 80-year-old man wouldn't have gone. I do not. So the day that I emailed Forrest and said, I just made it a mile today, I'm thinking about going, but I might need to hold on until I can go further. And he put out on one of the websites, this great email came from Kristie, if you're walking long distances, you're walking too far. You're not going to be going more than a half a mile to a mile. That is it. So in my opinion, now some say he didn't say exactly a mile. I would say you're not, some people that were hiking 5, 10, 20 miles, an 80-year-old man could not have made 2 trips. He has said, it's not in a dangerous place. So I think you need to use your common sense, but sometimes that's not very common. But I think the terrain, you have to be ready. Like I did go get a really good pair of hiking boots. I got a really thick pair of pants to make sure that I could hike and not get my legs messed up. And, cactus, all of those issues. I made sure that, all the safety precautions, you have to have water, you have to have, you don't want to have food unless it's sealed, et cetera, when you're out on the trails if you have bears that are coming to your area. So there's a lot of things to think about, but I think the number one is if you're going somewhere an 80-year-old man could not go, you're walking too far, you're walking in uncharted territory, and you're just on vacation. You're not finding that chest. So think about that constantly when you're doing something, especially when you get that little devil on your shoulder. And I've been there where I think I'll just go out a little further or I will just purge over this river. No, Forrest didn't do that. Now, he didn't tell me that exactly. He's told all of us in general, don't do that. Get out in the wilderness, but don't go. It's not going to be a hardcore, 20-mile trek out. It's going to be something that the average 80-year-old man could do.
I got a couple questions from our audience coming in, and we're going to start off with Renee here. And Renee asks, if there is a treasure and it is found, then what are you all going to do with your time since the rest of your hope and dreams have been burst by not finding it? What would you do next?
Well, okay, so we've actually had some talks about this on our YouTube channel. So the first, I think, is the treasure finder going to come out with their solution? Because that would be, we hope they do. There's some reasons that somebody might not want to. But if it comes out, and we just know it's found, but we don't know who it's found by, of course there's going to be urban legends and discussions for a little bit about all of that. If it is found and we know the treasure location, there will be such lively discussion on, I knew it, I was 5 feet away from it, to I was in a totally different state, what do you mean, etc. But that is actually one thing that Mike and I are doing that are trying to not just make it Forrest Fenn. That's why there's some other treasure hunts that are going on out there, and we had someone from the Oak Island that does a podcast on Oak Island, and some of the others. I call myself more an adventurer than a treasure hunter, even though I love hunting treasure. There are different hunts out there that are developing over time. Like I talked about boots on the ground clothing. They're doing one. We're actually taking the medallions of the Forrest Fenn hunt, and we are hiding them all throughout the United States. There's about 45, 50 of them that we're going to hide just to get some smaller level adventure going. Will it ever be the Forrest Fenn hunt? No. He has broken ground. His legacy is at a whole different level. But we're adventurers. We're going to find something. There are regional areas. There's what's called the Jingle Bell Rock in Las Vegas. They go out and they find a rock, and, that's a treasure hunt, and you have clues. I think this is a whole new genre, and I think it's at the very forefront, and we are there to watch it develop, and we are, kind of at the forefront of it, and it's exciting. And so we're not going to lose our spirit. I don't think I'm a Forrest Fenn treasure hunter. I'm a treasure hunter, and I own it now. And but will it ever be the same? Renee, no, it won't. But gosh, I've also said every year we're going to get together and just reminisce about the good old days when we were boots on the ground, having a good time. But it'll never be the same. But it sure has been a fun ride on the way.
Let's get to Gail's question. She has a pair of them. And we're going to start off with number one here. She says, could the treasure be located from home by just using maps or Google?
So Forrest has said you need a good map, and he includes Google Earth, but he has said you cannot solve the final clue, what we call armchair, which means from your home. Some believe that that means that there is a part of the clue that you can't find on a map. Part of the community believes, no, that just means you can't physically pick it up. So I am a believer that you just can't go pick it up. You should be able to solve all of them from home, but I can see both sides. But can you go and pick up the treasure chest from your chair? No. But can you get most of the way there? And Forrest has also said, if you're within 12 feet of his treasure, he could not see you not locating it. So that would be Gail, that's my answer of you can get most of the way there, and most of us do. I live in North Carolina, and I have to trek all the way. I have to fly out to Yellowstone and New Mexico. Some people, they get to go just a couple miles from their house. But either way, you've got to get your tushy out there and actually get what we call boots on the ground.
Question number 2 from Gail. Could you please repeat the size of the dimensions of the treasure chest again?
Sure. It's 10 inches by 10 inches by 5 inches.
It's not too big.
And if you look at, no, it's not, but if you look at the picture that's there, it is filled to the brim. So from, I think, every little square inch, including vials of huge gold nuggets to vials of gold dust. It's all in there. So he's filled it to the brim. Some have said it's worth about $1 million. Not all of it's been appraised. Some have said $3 million. I would say between $1 and $3 million is a good estimate from what I know of this treasure chest.
Yeah, I was actually, you just answered my next question. What's the value of all this? Does anybody really know? I mean, we've seen the contents because there is a photo out there of what is actually in there, but it doesn't show everything. But he was eclectic, or still is eclectic, yes. Pardon me. And you never know what's in the bottom, but underneath everything. Like, it could be worth millions, literally.
Yeah, exactly. And some people have said they're going to sell it as a whole to a collector. Some people have said they're going to do it off piece by piece. So he owns Sitting Bull's Peace Pipe. How much is Sitting Bull's Peace Pipe worth? Whatever the market will bear. So that treasure chest, is it worth individual pieces? Is it worth $1 million to $3 million? Some people say they're not going to sell it. They're going to give it to a museum. So it is really what the market will bear. And what is gold? Gold 8 years ago has a different selling price than gold today. And those double eagle coins, those have different values over time. So I will put my whatever the market bears. I will tell you the coins that Mike made up, they were sold for $15 by Mike for the Forrest Fenn hunt. The last one went for $700 on eBay because they sold out, and there's not any more that's going to be made. There was only 1,000 made of copper, or a copper looking. It's a copper alloy. It literally only costs $5-10 to make. It went for $660 on eBay. Why? Because that's what the market bears. So it's it's interesting to watch the phenomenon that we have happening, and all of, it's not just a treasure hunt. We have a community. We have a group that's come together, and it does make it interesting. But what's the value? Whatever the market bears. So I'd love to find out. If I find it, I will let you know.
Okay, what would you do? What is your goal? You find it, all of a sudden this summer coming up, you're out there and you come across it. What do you do? How do you get out of the forest safe? How do you know there's not somebody following you just in case you find it?
Well, it is funny that you asked that, because that is actually our topic for next Monday, is how do you get it home safely? I will tell you that I would run to my car. Well, now that I have a new search partner now, and I haven't announced that, so I won't announce it tonight, but my search partner and I would say we would race to the car, and I have been very open about this, and I am going to discuss it on Monday. I believe you go to the nearest train station. You can't get on an airline with this huge treasure chest. Driving cross country, you have the worries of police that pull you over for, speed zones and areas that they think drugs are going, etc. I live in North Carolina. I'm gonna get on a train. TSA does spot checks for drugs. Drugs are their biggest issue, where they have dogs. They do not typically search every single passenger. You can get in one of the carts, where you have an entire room. You have your own bathroom, your own shower, your own bed, and you sit on a train for 3 days and you look through that treasure chest. You could sleep on it because you have a mattress. So once I get it home, though, what do I do? The first thing Forrest has said is wait 30 days and just calm down. Some people believe that's because there's some sort of title or land title or something that has transitioned. I would take a little bit of time. I actually laugh a little. Would Forrest contact me, since he has told me he knows when it's going to be discovered, or would I need to contact him? And it's interesting because my last search partner, there was only one item within the chest that I wanted, and the rest was his because he developed most of the solves. My new search partner, I would go 50-50. And how we would sell it, there's a couple of YouTubers out there that have done quite a bit of research on how to do that. That would truly need to be thought out, but we'd have 30 days to figure that out. Probably a lawyer would be my first call.
Yeah, I think you would definitely have to go to a lawyer first and foremost just to make sure that everything is safe. But, I mean, do you think there are people out there watching the forest for people such as yourself, just in case you do find it? Because, let's face it, with every treasure, there's thieves.
Yep, absolutely. That's actually my biggest concern. Isn't once I get it home and dealing with that, and that's why we're doing a show on it. And some people are like, that's such a silly topic. How do you get it when you are a 22-hour drive from home? And there's one gentleman that is a retired law enforcement. He's like, I get pulled over every time coming from Illinois to my search location in New Mexico because it's just a drug trafficking area. And he's like, if they were to search my car, they let me go every time. But if they were to find a treasure chest, they'd probably take it. How do we get it home? And that's why I think it's such an interesting discussion. And my past search partner told me about the trains. I searched the regulations. I think it's the best way to go. But it is scary. People have died for less. If you had a $3 million treasure chest in the back seat and you got pulled over, or someone saw it, you're not doing well if they're not really good person that just says are they just going to say congratulations? Or, but a lot of people have thought about it because they think their solve is that solid.
Unbelievable. I don't know if I wouldn't do that armed or do that with some sort of security exit. But, how do you plan for an exit if you don't know where the hell the damn thing is?
Well, I will tell you that some of the locals. So if you're in New Mexico, and especially if you're law enforcement, which several of the searchers are, they go and they're packing. And so if they're getting out of there, they're going to make sure they get out of there safely. I get on a plane, and I'm not able to take firearms. So do I have my bear spray? And would I use my bear spray if I needed to defend myself? Absolutely. But is it a concern? Yes. But I will say the areas that I've searched in, they have been remote enough that I haven't run into that. But that also goes with the question. I think the hardest part would not be discovering it and getting it to your car. It would be that day. I would have at least 2 days before I would get home. And, oh, my gosh, my heart would be racing. It would be that would be the hardest part. And then what do you do from there? So I agree with you. There's a safety factor. So you would just have to try to stay calm, cool, collected. Think about what Forrest said. Contact Forrest. I think that's the number one thing to do. His email's out there. His email's in his book, for goodness sake. So you can email him and say, I found it. Here's some key words. He will, I guarantee, in my opinion, he would give you a phone number. You would call him, and the rest would be, and he would probably tell you how to get to a safe spot. That's just my opinion. But you would try to do as much research beforehand, but you would definitely need to stay safe, because think about if you had $3 million in cash on you. This is like the equivalent of that. And so you would need to get to a safe area, get it secured, et cetera. And that's what we all dream about.
Yeah, absolutely we do. As we're coming down to about the last 90 seconds here before we got to go to break at the top of the hour, I told you this show was going to absolutely fly on by, and it truly has. Can't believe we're 2 hours into this. But in the end, would you, we'll need a quick answer for this, but if I were you looking for this thing, I think if I found it, I would quickly move it and rebury it to trace my way out, make sure there was nobody following me, because you're going to scream, you're going to cheer, you're going to cry, you're going to go through about an hour's worth of emotions before you got to get the hell out of there. You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I'm a treasure hunter. I'm ready for it. There's no way I'm burying that bad boy. If it was buried, I'm taking it with me. And, there's the second adventure. The minute you get it, one adventure is ended and the next adventure has begun. There's no way. You're going to have to pry it out of my hands. And I'm not going down without a fight. That sounds grandiose, but I mean it. I've earned it. And so I'm not handing it to nobody.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I just think about the safety issues. I think I'd be going in just to make sure. For me, we'll take this into break right now. I think for me, I would, if I found it, I would probably rehide it in this exact same spot, hoping that nobody was looking around, or bury it somewhere else, and then plan my exit route, making sure that there was nobody there. Because when you got $1 million to $3 million or $5 million, who knows what it's worth, that's a lot to risk on a robbery on top of the mountains where nobody's around. Safety first. That's what we talk about. On that note, we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Christie Thor is our guest, Forrest Fenn treasure hunter. We got her for another 30 minutes coming up right after the break. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party, you can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thor. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we get into the paranormal. Author Chuck Banks will be with us talking all sorts of stories. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on the SOR Radio Network, Deep Talk Radio, along with Revolution Radio. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Dactylopterus. Dactylopterus is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. I know Jamie Sexton would love a pair of socks for that. And, of course, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Tonight, for the final time, we introduce Kristie Thor. She is a treasure hunter looking for Forrest Fenn's treasure that is hidden somewhere in the four corners of the United States in the Rocky Mountains, not below 5,000 feet, not below 10,200. It is a journey that has lasted 9 years. Nobody has found it. Mr. Fenn is still alive and waiting for somebody to claim his treasure. Kristie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
So here I am up in Canada in the middle of nowhere where there's a plethora of snowflakes falling. And I'm wondering, come summertime, it melts, and I want to do this adventure. Where would someone like me start on this?
Well, I would start now. I would say, first of all, Google Forrest Fenn. You're going to see a wonderful variety of places to go. I will say the first one, of course, I'm a little biased. Go to callazars.com, Callasers, Lazars, callazers.com. And you'll see all the different resources out there. Whether you're a Facebooker, and there's 4 or 5 major Facebook groups, and shout out to who you had talked about is Janet on Forrest Fenn Galore, but there's also Callazars, there's Forrest Fenn fans, there's just a bunch out there. Whether you're a Reddit person, whether you're a forum, that's I have a forum called Hint of Riches. You can find that on Callazar's site. I would try to get up to date with the poem. I personally believe getting the book, which is The Thrill of the Chase, which we will have on sale on callazars.com. We just secured many books to get to the community. That's where I would start. And I would start studying what is out there. Here's the biggest issue, though, and I'm going to be very, very blunt, and I don't mean to offend anybody. The number one thing that happens is the poem is so broad, someone will say, I solved it within a day. And then they try to go out immediately. They just say, ha, 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 you guys don't have it. I figured it out. And they rush out to their location. Don't do it. Everyone has done it. Everyone thinks they've known because the poem is speaking to them, and they come back from boots of ground, walk of shame, and do some studying. And that's why right now is the perfect time, because you shouldn't be going out. It's not safe. And just look at the resources out there. Get on the forums. Realize the forums, though, there are some people that have a vested interest in making sure you don't find it. But sift through old sites. There is some blogs out there that are fabulous that talk about old search locations, and just see what calls to you. I would also recommend getting to I'm a social person. I like the social events. We have a Vegas tournament coming up at Bally's on the 26th at 7 o'clock. About 50 of us searchers are getting together and having some fun. Come out and meet us. We are a wild, eclectic, funny, fun, crazy, definitely crazy, underlying crazy, both crazy. We're a crazy group. We get together during the summer. We call it the Function in the Junction up in Yellowstone. Mike and I are organizing that. But there's also what we call Fenbury. They get together down in New Mexico. I haven't been to one, but they all get together. So if you're starting out, get the book and read that poem until you can memorize it. And I think the only way to really get hooked is to meet some of these great searchers. Once I did, whether it's online or on ground, it's a fun community because someone's going to find it, and I want to hear that story.
You bring up a very good point. There's always trolls when it comes to anything out there, especially online. But there are trolls out there trying to throw any type of false flag, false hints, anything to throw people off their course because they are the ones who are destined to find it in their own minds. Is that quite prevalent? And could you give a couple of examples of the way people are trying to cheat others who are interested in this search?
Yeah, so my very first boots on the ground, I went to Yellowstone for, I think it was 4 days. It might have been 3.5 or 4.5, somewhere around there. And after the first day or two, and I was what we call a newbie. It was my first year in the chase. There's some famous searchers out there that are prevalent on these forums, and they say they know a lot. And you kind of look at them and you say, oh, you've been in it a long time. You've done a ton of research. And I remember this one searcher, it was the second day, and I messaged this person and said, I just crashed. What should I do tomorrow? And the searcher gave me a variety of places to go in my general area, and I went to those all day long the next day. And then I messaged that evening and said, I still didn't find it. And they said, wow, you're a sucker. I sent you to all the places I knew it wasn't. And I went, okay, I'm a sucker. I'll just take that. I'm a sucker. So realize who you should trust and who you shouldn't. That was probably the hardest lessons learned that I've had. People will lead you astray because only one person's getting this treasure chest. So there is one example. Some people have said they've heard things from Forrest Fenn, or they've heard particular quotes and things. Unless Forrest has said it, he releases information on a couple of sites. He's given Thor a little bit of information, but I don't even go that far. I want to see it on Dal Meitzel's site, or there's a site called mysteriouswritings.com. Those are the two places that Forrest, tried and true, has put really solid information out. He puts out an annual update on February 4th, so that's coming up in a couple weeks. It will be on, her name is Jenny. She runs the site on Mysterious Writings, and it is so fun to go and watch and listen to. But the biggest thing is, there is a lot of people say there's these celebrities in the chase, or there's these lead searchers. Everyone's in last place. No one knows anymore. Mike and I have a YouTube, and some people say, well, you guys know something. No, we don't. We know it's just our opinions. We're not Forrest Fenn. We don't have any secret hints. So don't think anybody is ahead of you in any way, shape, or form. We're all in last place because that treasure chest has not been found. So don't think you're behind. Some people think if they've been to their spot 500 times, that makes them more ahead of someone else. Nope. You're in last place just like me. Nobody has the treasure chest. And I say that humbly because I did have the pleasure of this last year of meeting Forrest. He did say some things to me, and I thought, ooh, is there a hit in this and that? Nope. He's thought of everything. He's a smart man. This is a fun chase. It's a legit chase. So just know Forrest has actually put a quote out, the forums and the blogs are for entertainment. But it's a social construct. It's important. When I say I'm a treasure hunter, it's really nice to have someone else that's a treasure hunter. I can tell you, Cynthia Meacham's out there. Cynthia is someone I will call and I just need to commiserate with. She's gone boots on the ground hundreds of times. I've only been 6 times. I just want to discuss the chase with her sometimes. And then I just want to discuss life sometimes. So I found friends through this community. Mike's a friend, and Dan's a friend, and I could just name person after person. That's what it's about. So for me, and now some people say, stay away from all the social stuff. This is a hardcore game, find a treasure chest. Well, after 9 years, that's a lonely life. I like the social aspect. But again, if you get bitter, if you get sad, if you get upset, if you get angry, move on to some other hobby, But for me, where to start? The poem, TTOTC, which is The Thrill of the Chase book, and go and see some resources. Go and build some friendships. It's fun. But there's definitely some trolls out there. And some people are pretty bitter. Some people have lost their homes. Like anything that has big stakes, this could be just like a gambling addiction. People have lost their homes. They've gone out too many times. They've gotten too addicted, and then they're bitter at other searchers or they're bitter at Forrest. Well, you just have to take it with a grain of salt. So I smile through it when people get angry at me and say, you're finding it or you're cheating or you got some secret hint. Nope. I'm just like everybody else, and you just got to smile through it, and the friends are what gets you through, and that's what's just so super fun, hearing their stories, their boots on the ground and what they've done. So you got to see the good in all this, and again, it's awesome.
When you go out there, and I'm sure there's people who do this, but are you going out and staying in the wilderness, camping out there, or are you going out for a day into one area, then going back to a hotel or a cabin, and then trying another area the next day? How do you do it?
Yeah, so for me, some people will light me up about this because there's some people that literally take a bedroll and put it in the back of their truck. I do not. I have stayed in both a cabin, a low-end motel. I stayed in a resort one time. And so I've had a variety. My boots-on-the-ground location was at one time about 4 hours away from the hotel that I stayed in the city that I was in. So I got up at 4 a.m., I drove out, spent the day in my location, and then drove back. And so I am a hotel, motel. I have not camped out in my particular locations. I may eventually, because some people say that's not Forrest, because Forrest is definitely a tent kind of person, and get out in the wilderness a little more. I have not up to this point. I may eventually, but getting out for an entire day, and I can tell you, after literally hiking for 12 hours for 3 solid days, it takes its toll. So I'm glad I came back to an actual mattress. And actually, one of the places had like a jacuzzi, pool and jacuzzi, and man, I needed that because I was just dead on arrival. It was just, I was sore in places I didn't know I could be sore.
Yeah, and it is going to take a toll on your body. I mean, whether it's just the hiking, but the elevation as well. I mean, I live in a place that is 3/4 of a mile above sea level, and you know when you're up here comparatively when you're down on the coast, much at lower levels. I mean, the oxygen is different. It makes you more tired, and these are things people need to prepare for. And what we talk about, the elements.
Right, exactly. And I think some haven't. One searcher went out and actually didn't know the elevation issues, got very sick, got disoriented, barely made it out, and had to have, emergency personnel come. Really research your area. That's the other thing. You need to know what the terrain is like, what gear you need, what this looks like to you. So it could be elevation, it could be bears, it could be a variety of things. Know your location. I've had 3 different states, and I can tell you there was 3 different full preparations that I did for my general area, even coming down to what is the plant life like? What do I need to know, not know? I mean, scorpions are very different than bears, but both are a huge concern. So those are things that you just have to work through and be prepared. So do not discount safety no matter what. But things like elevation, things like what happens if you fall and you you have a wound. I mean, I keep a whole emergency kit in my backpack. I have a boots-on-the-ground backpack. And when I go out, even if it's only an hour from my car or half an hour from my car, I will have a whole pack with me. I will have survival guides of my particular location. And then again, I think I mentioned this, I'm not sure, or we might have done it on break. I have a search check-in. So I will say I'm leaving at this time. Once I leave cell service, I will check in. Let's say I will check in by 2 p.m. If I haven't checked in by 2 p.m., my search emergency crew knows here's the police that you call or rangers that you call, and here's where to go and find me because I might have fallen or have a concussion or whatever the issue is. I am a search emergency contact for about 20 searchers. When they go boots on the ground, I've been on the phone with other searchers, and I'm like, nope, I have to go. It's very serious because the safety part is very, very much a concern. This isn't a game of, we're in a confined space and, within a virtual area. There's no virtual reality here. You're in where the elements are. So have a safety check-in, but then also, have fun with it, but take it serious enough to know it is serious. People have lost their lives. But again, it's fun as long as you take those precautions. And I have searched alone. I have searched with someone. Alone was a little bit more, I won't say scary, but I did a lot more preparation just because I am a single woman. So I think that's different than a man searching. We actually did a panel. They were all women, and we talked about boots on the ground of people that had searched with their spouse, searched alone, searched with another woman. Those are very different dynamics. So and that would be the other thing is go and look at all the YouTubes that are out there. Those YouTubes will show you, they talk about these kinds of things. So the cool part is you can get caught up really quickly. But safety, I would say you could never prepare enough, especially if I'm a flatlander. I will say I was a beach bum growing up, grew up in Southern California. I didn't do a ton of camping. I did, but not camping like we're talking about up in Yellowstone. I needed to really do some research. But then there's some great, great treasure hunters that they've done it for months on end, for years on end since they were little. So they will tell you all about it, and they'll really help you through it, which is fantastic.
This may sound like a strange question, but I'm going to throw it out there. If you are partnering up with someone to find this, how do you know you can trust them? Is there a contract that you have with that person on what happens if it is found? Like, let's just say you and I partnered up. You don't know me. I don't know you. We've only really met on the internet. We seem to be good people. We've had a lot of phone conversations, sees where it goes. And all of a sudden, we find that together, but I get greedy and, shove you down a cliff or whatever it could be, to throw you in the water. Do you have contracts with people? Because when you're dealing with that amount of money, there's a lot of glory and a lot of greed that gets into it.
Yeah, it's a great question because I think it depends. So here's the other issue. You tell me you're solved. I go out and find it, and then I never tell you that it's actually found. So it depends on the person. So with my brother, I knew my brother. We did not do a written I've never done a written contract. Some have done written contracts, non-disclosures, etc. With my brother, I had he had a solved location. I had a solved location eventually. We were splitting it 50-50. Then I had my own, and that was easy. I got the whole thing. When this last summer, I emailed out to everyone and said, hey, does anybody have a solve? I took that leap of faith. There was someone that I found that I trusted. I will tell you, I never boots on the ground with him. I would not have felt it was safe enough, someone I met on the internet, to go and, meet on boots on the ground. So he gave me his solve. He was ready to let it go. And actually, I felt like he had solved 8 of the 9 clues. So he actually got the treasure chest and all the contents. I wanted the golden frog for a personal reason. There's a golden frog within the chest. So it depends on the person. I will tell you, and those of you that know me in my search or my search peeps that are listening, I probably trust too much, and I have been burned. Some things that I knew and put out, some people have either put out or burned me, and they're not somebody that I associate with now. That's been a really good lesson of life. Who do you trust in life, and who do you trust in this chase? There's a parallel. So I've been burned. I've had good things happen and bad things happen, and I just take the bad things. And the good part is maybe there's something I said that somebody portrayed. That is an easier lesson than someone stealing a treasure chest. So I'm a work in progress. So I just say, okay, I've learned a lot, and the next time I'm not going to trust people as much as I do with, what I see in the poem and my hints and my clues and those sorts of things. But then I get on YouTube and I start talking with Mike, and I give up lots more than I should. But you know what? If somebody else grabs it and gets it because of something I said, at least we're going to know a little bit about it. And I'm a true believer in karma, and what goes around will come around. So I'm okay giving up that piece. This search is a little bit different for me. I haven't given up my job or it's not an addiction for me. I haven't given up my home and any of that. So if somebody else gets it, I'm okay with it. I just want to find out where it is. So who can you trust? This is the question of life in general. I think over time you find good people, like Mike and Cynthia. We spent hundreds of hours together raising this money for this searcher, and I thought, wow, those are some really good people right there. But, when you meet someone on a forum, also know, there was someone about 2 years ago that emailed me on the forum and said, I actually had found it. I really need your help. And was willing to pay a plane ticket, and somebody I'd talked to on the forums for about a year. And I actually emailed Forrest and said, oh, my gosh, I can't believe you found it. He said, do not get on that plane. He did not find anything. And that was like I wasn't going to get on a plane anyway, or I don't think I was. But that was like a wake-up call to me, like, oh, my gosh, someone I've talked to for a while, all about searches. Wow, they just flat out lied. They wanted me to get on a plane. I could only imagine the dark side of that. So just the same rules you have in life. Be careful who you trust, especially in a treasure hunt where there's only one. I've had somebody offer someone else's solve that they had heard for a dollar amount. I mean, there's some crazy stories of what people have done to get information and that sort of thing. So, yeah.
We only got about 2 minutes left with you, and I want to ask you one quick question. What do you mean by solve? What is a solve?
A solve is there's 9 clues. At the end of the 9 clues, there's a treasure chest. So where Warm Waters Halt? It is the Madison Junction in Yellowstone. Where is the canyon? It's the canyon right next to. Where's the home of Brown? It is the brown trout that is in the water there. You go through the 9. Where is the blaze? It's Tough Cliff. And then look down, and you look right down there at Ojo Caliente, and there is the treasure chest. So if you have clue 1 to clue 9 that relate to the poem, that is considered a solve. So that's golden. That's golden information if you have the right one, because it should lead you to a treasure box somewhere in the Rockies.
Well, I want to say thank you for you coming on tonight, Kristie. And you have to also fill us in that if you find this before you go on any of the big media, you got to do an interview with us. You have to.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, I will. My search partner, hopefully he's okay with it too. Yes, I think that sounds marvelous, because that will be, gosh, talk about the scoop of the century. That will be fun. That will be a fun story to tell.
I would love to tell that one. And in 30 seconds here, do us a favor. Mention your YouTube show once again on Forrest Fenn.
Yeah, it's Cowlazars, COWLAZARS. And it's Cowlazars.com or Cowlazars on YouTube, and it's Cowlazars Grand Adventure on Facebook, also on Reddit and a few other places. But Cowlazars is where we hang out. We talk all things Forrest Fenn and treasure hunting. But if you go to Cowlazars.com, you can see other resources. We're not the only show in town. We want to be fair to the whole community. We're trying to bring the community together and forward. So that is where you can find me and Mike, and we laugh and have a good time.
Absolutely. Christie Thor, good luck in your search for Forrest Fenn's treasure. Thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio. What a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thank you so much, Dave.
Take care. Coming up next, we have Olaf Phillips with the SOR Newswire. Coming up, finish off the show tonight. We'll be back.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Coming soon. SpacedOutRadio.com is the area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at SpacedOutRadio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thor, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Welcome back to the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. As we've rounded third, we are heading for home. What a great show. Forrest Fenn. So intriguing. But tonight, now, we got to get to the news with the man, the myth, and the paranoia legend, Mr. Olaf Phillips in the SOR Newswire. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of each and every show, where we get to the weird, the wacky, the WTF of the news of the night. And with that, from ParanoiaMagazine.com, we bring in Olaf Phillips. How you doing there, president of Team Stump?
Greetings and salutations.
What is going on, my friend? What is going on?
The news is not always changing. Sometimes it's very static, Dave.
Oh, I hear you.
But that's not tonight.
I hear you. Who's buzzing you, man?
That's not tonight.
Who's buzzing you on your phone?
I was, right before I came on the air, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was telling them a story. And they're bugging me because I had to get off the phone to do the news, and they want to hear the rest of the story.
Oh,
but then they want to go to sleep. They want to go to sleep, so now I have to call them in the morning to explain the rest of the story.
Gotcha. So they're going to text the living daylights out of you just to make you laugh so they can hear their bzz, bzz on the phone. That's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And know that because they know that I'm doing the news, so now they're messing with me. It's complicated, man. It's really bad.
Well, you know what? Would you go treasure hunting? Would you go treasure hunting?
You know, I've always wanted to go to Oak Island. I have a thing for Oak Island. Yeah. I would love to. You know, there's a story. I was a Boy Scout, and the camp that I used to go to when I was a kid, it was a place called Wolfboro. And the first time you ever go to Wolfboro, you have to you go on this overnight hike. And, it's like real camping, and all this kind of crap. And they take you on the trail of the 13 gold crosses. And it's about this guy who was a gold miner, and he got jumped, and he eventually got killed, but he died from his injuries, but he wouldn't tell anybody where the gold mine was. And he was like bringing out absurd amounts of gold. And so what he had done to lay a track to where the gold mine was that he had taken a shotgun and he had filled it with gold, and then he had instead of bullets, like pellets, and he fired it into a rock. And so you go down this path and you keep finding these blast marks, gold blast marks. I mean, they're worn, but they're these marks. And at the 12th mark, that's where you camp. But nobody's ever, quote unquote, found the third mark.
Weird.
I don't know how true it is, but it's great when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, wow, I can find a gold mine.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's that time of the night again, my friend. We got to get to the news. What's going on for us tonight?
NASA discovers South Park character Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, on Jupiter.
Nice.
I got to deliver, man. Heidi-ho. Although Heidi-ho. Although South Park isn't officially broadcast on Jupiter, it looks like one of the show's characters has found a home there. An enhanced picture of Jupiter taken by the Juno spacecraft in September shows a large brown spot that looks amazingly like Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo, a talking and singing lump of dookie that wears a Christmas hat. Naturally, NASA engineer Kevin M. Gill felt compelled to share the crappy photo on Twitter. And here is his official tweet. Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo, #Jupiter at NASA Juno. And then it goes on. Fans of the show might note the character's presence on the planet is appropriate since he was run out of South Park this past season for sending offensive tweets, which, like Roseanne Barr, he blamed on the insomnia drug Ambien. CNET notes another stinky connection. Jupiter is one of the solar system's gas giants. Mr. Hanky is a very unofficial name for the spot, which is actually known as a brown barge, according to NASA press release Gill sent to the HuffPo. This feature is a type of cyclonic region that usually lies within Jupiter's dark northern equatorial belt, although there are sometimes found in the similarly dark south equatorial belt. HuffPo has reached to South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who did not immediately respond.
I wonder if they could get copyright infringement for Mr. Hanky there.
Oh, they're not going to go after some NASA engineer for that. They're probably having a party.
I'm go after the aliens on Jupiter, man. That's what it's all about. Go after the aliens on Jupiter.
I'm telling you.
Oh, for sure.
You ready for some more?
Let's do it.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Decisions. Women twerk atop moving vehicle on Missouri highway. A shocked traveler on a Missouri highway captured video of two women traveling atop a moving vehicle while twerking. The video shows two women performing the dance move. Hang on. Websites. The dance move atop a Chevrolet Suburban as it drives on Interstate 64 near the Science Center of St. Louis. The woman who captured the video said it was filmed during Monday evening rush hour. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department and St. Louis County Police said they did not receive any calls about the incident, but the driver could have faced charges if they had been caught. People are always looking for that attention to make them go viral, Missouri Highway Patrol Trooper Dallas Thompson told KMOV. They don't realize it just takes just a minor braking for them to fall off and slam into the pavement and get run over by another vehicle. The driver could be facing careless and imprudent driving because they're failing to give the highest degree of care while they're operating the vehicle, Thompson said. So twerking on top of a Chevy Suburban.
Yeah, that's never a good idea.
I'm giving it to you tonight, man. I'm giving it to you tonight.
There's just no smarts in that. There's no smarts in that at all. Don't care who.
No, there's no. By the way, I don't have an actual story on it right now, but I do have an update on the guy who drove his Ferrari into the ocean.
Right. What happened?
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
He said that Jesus told him to do it. He said that Jesus descended from the sky and told him to drive his Ferrari into the ocean.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, because Jesus wants to see you drive a $300,000 car off a pier into the ocean. Yeah. Always.
Meanwhile, in a more polite part of Florida, wanted Florida man promises officers he would turn himself in when he was finished with his job. A Florida man with a warrant out for his arrest promised police he would turn himself in. He just wanted to finish his job first. Jesse Park, 40 of Bunnell, left a note to police on a mattress that was perfectly placed at his front door for the officers to see. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office said, "I know my warrant is active. I'm not here. I am finishing a job and turning myself into the Volusia Brain Jail." Jesse Pack, the message read. Pack had an active warrant in Volusia County for kidnapping and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, police said. Police knocked on the door and a woman answered, telling deputies that Pack was not at the residence. She gave officers permission to search, and deputies found the man hiding in a wooden dresser, police said. "Ready or not, here we come," Flagler County Sheriff Rick Stalley said. "This guy clearly thought he could hide from our deputies. That is not the first cat and mouse game a fugitive has tried to play. We won't."
How do you find him in a dresser? How do you find him in a dresser? Like, did he shuffle? Did he burp? Did he fart? Like, what could have caused that?
I don't know, but Pack was taken into custody on the Volusia County warrant for kidnapping and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and he was charged with resisting arrest without violence and possession of drug paraphernalia.
Real nice guy. Classy guy. And he lied to police about finishing the job.
He did. I was really disappointed in that.
I am disappointed in him, too. I mean, here I was expecting that you were going to tell us, that, maybe he was, helping build a new wing in the children's hospital, and as soon as the job was done, he would turn himself in.
Or he was working on Habitat for Humanity, or,
Yeah, exactly. But no, he's hiding in a dresser drawer. Terrible.
Yeah,
should try an armoire next time. They're bigger.
I know. More comfortable.
Yes,
Meanwhile,
exactly.
Florida woman pulls gun at salon after being told to take a chill pill.
Uh-oh.
Cape Coral, Florida. A Cape Coral woman pulled out a gun, upset because it was past her appointment time at hair cuttery. Laura Ulan, 40, brought her kids to the salon Sunday evening on Del Prado North. Witness said Ulan burst into the store swearing because it was past her appointment time, and she thought the stylists were wasting time instead of working. Ulan continued yelling, the report said. A woman who was getting her hair cut told Ulan to take a chill pill and then approached her to try to calm her down. Police said that's when Ulan suddenly pulled a gun from her purse and pointed it at the customer's stomach. Ulan left the store, and the police arrested her a few hours later at her house.
What is she thinking? Her children are right there. Her children are right there. What kind of example are you setting if you're going to have a flip out over your hair appointment being 15, 20 minutes late? Have you been to the doctor? Have you been to the doctor where they literally tell you to come in at 9 o'clock and they get you in at like 10:15?
I don't know, man.
It's terrible.
I don't know.
Terrible. I had a buddy of mine. I had a guy that I used to work with Okay, he was just one of these guys. He was always quick on his feet and thought. So he went to the doctor's one day, and he was told to be there like 11 o'clock. He didn't get to see his doctor until close to 12. And so he goes into his doctor's office, and he says, point blank, he goes, before we even get started here, Doc, he goes, my time is valuable. You told me to be here at 11. I get in to see you at 12. He goes, where do I send the receipt to? And that doctor's like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, you've cost me an hour of my time where I could have been at work. I work commission, making money. So how much, where do I send the bill to? And he goes, well, what's the bill worth? He goes, oh, about $325. Right? Commission sales.
Yeah.
And ever since then, he, at his doctor's, when the doctor says, be here at such and such a time, he goes in at that time. Little note for all of you.
Wow.
Yeah. Little note. But on that note, we got to get to the thought of the day, shall we?
Do it.
All right. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Twitter and Facebook pages, then read your response on the air, because we love the audience participation around here, around the mighty SOR headquarters. So today's Thought of the Dave is as followed. I'd be damned if Facebook just didn't freeze up on me.
You know, I had that happen with one of the news stories. It was awful.
Well, here we go.
I was on the spot.
Here we go. The Thought of the Day. What's the neatest thing you found while out on a treasure or scavenger hunt? A few responses. I thought this one would get more play. Only 11 people participated in this. Usually we get like 30 to 50, sometimes more. John. A very old mason jar under the floorboards of this old vacant house in the woods that was full of coins from the late 1800s. How cool is that? How cool is that? Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Keith found garnet gemstones. Joe said a 75 million year old dinosaur bones.
Wow.
That's well, he's a geologist, man. Of course he's going to find weird stuff like that.
Don't feed that to the dog.
No, definitely not. Renee,
no.
I used to hunt fossils as a child in Colorado and found many fossilized shells. The really best one I found was a full fossilized fish. See, that's exciting. I would love to see that. Love to have something like that happen. You know? Sandra, I found a big native hammerstone on a farm I grew up on.
That's cool.
That's kind of neat. And here I am as a geocacher, just trying to find a little bison tube hanging from a tree just so I could put my initials on it. Son of a gun. But nonetheless, I hate those bison tubes in the tree. You have no idea the frustration of geocaching until you stand under a tree for like an hour and can't find a camouflaged bison tube. There's one around here, man. I was literally at that place 5 times. 5 times. The 6th time, I walked up with a buddy of mine who had found it, Jason. And I'm like, where is this one, dude? This one's pissed me off. I said, I've been here 5 times. Takes me right to it, puts me right in front of it. I look up, there it is. A place that I literally had been to 5 other times. I spent like 6 hours there.
And
6 hours. Drives me nuts.
And this is fun. This is fun because?
Oh, it's a scavenger hunt. You never know what you're going to find.
I know.
Some people are very creative with it. We found one time where this person had a pulley attached to a tree, and when you lowered the rope, this plastic owl came down, and that was the geocache. You had to reach inside the owl and sign the logbook and everything. It was actually kind of cool. But anyway,
sounds like
Marla.
Island to me. Anyway.
Yeah, totally. Marla says 1 carat Marquise loose triplet ruby in a gravel driveway. Nice.
Crazy.
Oscar found an old toy car in my parents' backyard the first day I had a metal detector. That's kind of cool. Daryl, a gravestone in the rock pile on our farm. That's eerie.
Weird.
You got somebody buried back there. What do you do if that happens? I wonder what happens. Does the city come and dig up the body or dig up the coffin and then rebury it? Repatriate it to another cemetery? Does that cost?
If you ask
who would that
maybe.
cost? Would that cost the city or would that cost the person? I don't know. Never came across that. Steve, an old friend and I were digging in an area habited thousands of years ago. We found remnants of artifacts, but the pinnacle was finding an obsidian hide scraper, a large spearhead, and numerous arrowheads. We took them to an expert that dated them from 8 to 10,000 years old. How awesome is that? How awesome is that?
That's like Clovis. That's like Clovis City, I think.
Cindy, an old snuff pot. And the final one we're going to get to tonight, Daniel, a 700-year-old Megasparia fossil, first animal fossil in Canada. Bossman style. I have 2 of them as well. That's awesome, man. Absolutely awesome.
Pretty cool.
Olav, where can people find Paranoia Magazine?
ParanoiaMagazine.com, Paranoia Magazine on Facebook, Paranoia Mag on Twitter, and Paranoia Mags on Instagram. Follow my misadventures as I explore the unknown.
Very cool. And you can get all of the Spaced Out Radio news at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news section. Captain Shirk has it loaded for you right then and there. We want to say a big thank you to Christie Thor for coming on the show tonight, talking about Forrest Fenn's treasure. That'd be kind of cool if somebody we knew found it. Wouldn't it? Would they share it with you? Would you share it? Would you share it? I mean, that is the big question. I had a feeling you would, Mr. I figured you would.
Yeah.
But tomorrow night on the show, Olaf, we round out the week. We got Chuck Banks coming in, talking all things paranormal, psychical, supernatural. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, midnight, 12:06 Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Big thanks to everybody listening in on Facebook, especially those on the SOR Space Travelers. On Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, the Spreaker crowd, Rev Radio, everybody at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for making this a fun one, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good one. See you tomorrow. Good night.